So now I am going to start next type of connective tissue, that is skeletal tissue. As the name suggests, skeletal tissue means it makes the skeleton of our body, like whole frame of our body. Hard part is known as bone, and soft part of our frame, that is our skeleton, is known as cartilage. So bones and cartilage, these are the two types of skeleton tissue. They make the skeleton of our body. And now I will explain the differences uh, between bones and cartilage. And on the basis of bones and cartilage, we can understand what are the characteristic features of bones and cartilage. उनमें क्या characteristic features हैं, that you will understand just by seeing the differences between bone and cartilage. So first difference is bones are hard and inflexible. On the other hand, cartilage, they are flexible. अब question arises that why bones are so hard? Hard इसलिए हैं क्योंकि bones में they have enough quantity of inorganic salts like calcium phosphate. हमारी bones, they are made up of calcium phosphate, which is an inorganic salt. Actually, our bones are made up of organic substances like proteins and inorganic salts like calcium phosphate. Inorganic salts, they make the bones hard. Hardness आती है bones में due to the presence of calcium phosphate, that is an inorganic salt. On the other hand, our bones also have protein, that is an organic substance. It gives flexibility to the bones. So bones which are hard have more amount of inorganic salts like calcium phosphate as compared to organic substances like protein, which give flexibility to the structure. So because bones, they have less amount of protein and less amount of organic substances, that is why they are inflexible. They are not that much flexible. हाँ, if जो बच्चे होते हैं, न्यू बॉर्न बेबीज या वेरी स्मॉल चिल्ड्रन, they have, their bones are very flexible, they fall down, पर फिर भी उनका fracture नहीं होता. So and healing अगर हो भी जाता है, then healing is very quick. So in children, small children, they have more amount of organic substances in their bones, that is protein उनमें ज़्यादा होता है. So their bones are very flexible, especially newborn babies, few months old babies, they have more amount of organic substances, that is proteins, etc. So their bones are very flexible. But in adults, bones become hard and inflexible because more amount of inorganic salts are present. They make the bones hard and inflexible. Or as the age advances, then what in old age, what happens कि जो हमारा जो flexibility देता है, that is organic substances, slowly and steadily they start decreasing, and our bones, they become hard and brittle also and get fractured very easily. और फिर उसकी healing भी बहुत late होती है. And on the other hand, cartilage, they are very flexible. बिल्कुल जैसे कानों में कार्टिलेज है, नोज में है, और हमारे बॉडी के a number of internal parts, they have cartilage. हमारे बकल कैविटी में cartilage is there. So cartilage, they are very flexible, and reason मैंने अभी आपको बता दिया कि flexibility, why they are so flexible, because they have more amount of organic substances which give flexibility to the cartilage. Number 2, difference is porous. Bones are porous. Porous means they have tiny pores in them, air spaces हैं, tiny pores हैं. That is why they become porous. बिल्कुल जैसे sponge होता है, उस तरह से बिल्कुल छोटे छोटे pores होते हैं इनमें, and they are porous. On the other hand, जो cartilage है, they are non-porous. They don't have any holes in them. नेक्स्ट है ब्लड वेसल्स प्रेजेंट. बोन्स में इनफैक्ट हमारा जो रेड ब्लड सेल्स है, स्पेशली चिल्ड्रन में, इट इज मैन्युफैक्चर्ड in our bone marrow. Bone के अंदर जो center में जो soft part, that is known as bone marrow. In that bone marrow, red blood cells, RBCs are formed, especially in children. और हमारी जो long bones है, these are the bones. ये जो हमारी long bones है, और legs की जो हमारी long bones है, उनके center में जो bone marrow है, that produces red blood cells. So bones, they have blood vessels present in them. On the other hand, cartilage में blood vessels are absent, blood capillaries are absent. Blood flows in three blood vessels: arteries, veins, and capillaries. So capillaries, blood capillaries are present in bones while absent in cartilage. Next is matrix is made up of protein and mineral salt. Matrix means इसका जो internal structure है, जो पूरा जो bone का जो structure है, that is made up of proteins. वो मैंने पहले भी आपको बताया था. Protein means organic substance and mineral salt means inorganic substances का बना हुआ होता है. On the other hand, cartilage का जो matrix है, structure है, that is made up of mainly protein. पहले भी previously I have told you here कि जो आपका cartilage है, it is soft because of the presence of organic substances, that is protein. और इसके बाद these are the calcium phosphate की bones are made up of calcium phosphate which is inorganic salt, और हमारा cartilage protein that is organic substance का बना हुआ होता है. That is why it is so flexible, and that is why it is inflexible, and hard bones are hard and inflexible. So this is about skeletal tissue. We have two types of skeletal tissue. तो हमारा skeletal tissue भी हो गया, समझ आ गया होगा आपको. लास्ट है हमारा fluid connective tissue. As I told you earlier also, fluid means which can flow. It includes air, because air diffuse होती है, flow होती है from higher concentration to lower concentration. On the other hand, liquids also, they also flow from higher level to lower level, and collectively liquids and air को collectively we call them fluids. अब हमारे बॉडी में कनेक्टिव टिश्यू गैसियस फॉर्म में तो नहीं होते, बट वी हैव कनेक्टिव टिश्यू इन लिक्विड फॉर्म, एंड दीज लिक्विड connective tissues are blood and lymph. So first of all, I will explain blood. What is blood? What is the composition of blood? And what are the functions of blood? So one by one, I will take different components of blood. So first of all, what is the meaning of blood? अगर one sentence में somebody asks what is blood, what is the definition of blood, then what will you say? You will say blood is a liquid connective tissue, right? और कुछ कहने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, जिससे समझना होगा वो समझ जाएगा. blood is a liquid connective tissue, right? टिश्यू है blood. कई बार हमसे कोई पूछता है व्हाट इज़ ब्लड, तो हम कहने लग जाते हैं रेड कलर का एक लिक्विड होता है बॉडी के अंदर. सो वो तो हर एक ही बता देंगे रेड कलर का लिक्विड होता है, बट एक साइंस स्टूडेंट क्या बताएंगे ब्लड की डेफिनेशन? It is a liquid connective tissue. So now I will start this fluid connective tissue, that is blood. तो definition मैंने blood की बता दी. Now what is the composition of blood? Blood is made up of a number of things like plasma. What is plasma? अभी मैं आपको बताती हूँ. Number 2, red blood cells. Red blood cells, also known as red blood corpuscles, also known as erythrocytes. Number 2, white blood cells, also known as white blood corpuscles, or it is also known as leukocytes. Number 3, we have platelets. So blood के composition में we will study about 4 things. Number 1, plasma, and what is the composition of plasma further I will tell you. And number 2, red blood corpuscles या red blood cells, short में they are also known as RBC. एक और नाम भी है इसका, erythrocytes. Number 3, white blood cells, also known as WBC, also known as white blood corpuscles, also known as leukocytes. And next, last have platelets. Platelets, also known as thrombocytes, क्योंकि it can cause a disease that is thrombosis. ब्रेन में जब ब्लॉकेज हो जाती है, हेमरेज हो जाता है, then that the disease is known as thrombosis. Thrombosis इसी से बना है platelets, because it is responsible for blood clotting. blood जो coagulate हो जाता है उसके लिए platelets responsible है. So other name of platelets is thrombocytes, right? So now I will explain what is plasma. Plasma क्या है? It is a yellowish, whitish yellowish liquid, and जिसमें 55% water is there. 55% तो ये water है. It acts as a medium for RBC, WBC and platelets. एक liquid medium ये provide करता है RBC and white blood cells और platelets के लिए, जिसमें 55% water है. It has organic substances also like albumin. Organic substances भी it contains, that is albumin and globulin. Albumin, ALBUMIN, albumin is an organic substance present in plasma. Number 2, globulin, GLOBULIN, globulin is another organic substance present in plasma. What is the function of albumin present in plasma? Its function is that it maintains osmotic pressure. OP means osmotic pressure. एक फ्लूइड जब फ्लो करता है तो उसके अंदर एक उसके फ्लो करने से एक प्रेशर डेवलप होता है, दैट इज ऑस्मोटिक प्रेशर. सो ऑस्मोटिक प्रेशर को कंट्रोल करता है एल्ब्यूमिन. दैट इज एन ऑर्गेनिक सब्सटेंस प्रेजेंट इन योर प्लाज्मा, ब्लड प्लाज्मा. नंबर 2, ग्लोब्यूलिन. ग्लोब्यूलिन का क्या काम है कि इट इज ऑल्सो एन ऑर्गेनिक सब्सटेंस एंड इट प्रोड्यूसेस सम antibodies. कई बार ये it acts as antibody. Antibodies are what? Our protective proteins. They protect our body from different types of disease causing germs. So globulin acts as antibody. It protects the body from harmful foreign materials. So albumin, globulin, these are the organic substance present in the plasma along with 55% of water. इसके बाद fibrinogen, fiber like structures भी they are also found in plasma. Fibrinogen, they are fiber like structures, thread like structures, and they are responsible for blood clotting. And इसके अलावा plasma has some other useful substances also, that is glucose, lipids, these are organic substances, vitamins, urea, amino acids, etc. So this is the composition of plasma. Again I will repeat, plasma contains 55% of water, organic substances like albumin which maintains the osmotic pressure of the blood. Number 2, globulin which acts as antibody. Antibody means protective proteins. Actually जो antibodies हैं basically chemically they are all proteins. हमारे hormones हो गए, हमारे antibodies हो गए, they are chemically they are proteins. And glucose, fibrinogen भी होता है इसमें. Fibrinogen, as the name suggests, they are fiber like structures and they help in blood clotting. blood को जमाने में, coagulate होने में help करते हैं. On the other hand, glucose, lipids, vitamins, urea, etc., they are also present in the blood plasma. Number 2, red blood cells. As I told you earlier also, कि red blood cells are also known as red blood corpuscles. In some of your books corpuscles word use किया हुआ होगा. So red blood corpuscles भी कहते हैं, RBC भी इसका short form में you can write, and एरिथ्रोसाइट्स भी इनको बोलते हैं. नाउ व्हाट आर द फंक्शंस ऑफ रेड ब्लड सेल्स? सबसे पहली चीज कि जो रेड ब्लड सेल्स है, इट इज सच एन इम्पॉर्टेंट कंपोनेंट ऑफ योर ब्लड बिकॉज इट हैज एन आयरन कंटेनिंग रेड रेस्पिरेटरी पिगमेंट, एक आयरन का बना हुआ Fe, आयरन का बना हुआ रेस्पिरेटरी पिगमेंट इसमें मिलता है. तो रेड ब्लड सेल्स दे हैव अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट iron containing red respiratory pigment. Respiratory pigment means it is responsible for respiration. Pigment means color, red color का ये होता है, and that is known as hemoglobin. क्या बोलते हैं इसको? Hemoglobin. So again I will repeat, what is hemoglobin? It is an iron containing red color का respiratory pigment. एक लाइन में, एक सेंटेंस में वी हैव एक्सप्लेन अ नंबर ऑफ थिंग्स. आयरन कंटेनिंग, इट शोज दैट हीमोग्लोबिन इज मेड अप ऑफ आयरन. ठीक है. इफ योर बॉडी इज हैविंग डेफिशिएंसी ऑफ आयरन, देन you will suffer from the deficiency of hemoglobin, and that condition of your body where your body is having deficiency of hemoglobin is known as anemia. आयरन ऑक्सीजन की उसमें डेफिशिएंसी हो जाती है, बिकॉज दिस हीमोग्लोबिन इज रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द एब्जॉर्प्शन ऑफ ऑक्सीजन. सो हीमोग्लोबिन इज एन आयरन कंटेनिंग रेड रेस्पिरेटरी पिगमेंट. हीमोग्लोबिन आयरन का बना हुआ होता है. प्योर आयरन रेडिश ब्राउन कलर का होता है. सो रेड कलर का, दैट इज व्हाई आवर ब्लड इज रेड, बिकॉज इन आवर ब्लड द मैक्सिमम नंबर of this red blood cells are present. Maximum number red blood cells का होता है about 4 to 5 million millimeter cube. This much hemoglobin, this much red blood cells are present in your blood. So इतने सारे red blood cells हैं 4 to 5 million per meter cube. That is why our red blood cells are red in color. इतने सारे हीमोग्लोबिन हैं इसमें, बिकॉज रेड ब्लड सेल्स का नंबर जितना ज़्यादा है उतने हीमोग्लोबिन है. रेड ब्लड सेल्स आर मेड अप ऑफ हीमोग्लोबिन, और हीमोग्लोबिन रेड कलर का होता है, एंड दैट इज व्हाई योर ब्लड इज रेड. इसके बाद आ जाता है कि इट इज रेस्पिरेटरी पिगमेंट. व्हाट डज इट मीन? व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ रेस्पिरेटरी पिगमेंट? बिकॉज हीमोग्लोबिन is a substance which is having great affinity towards oxygen. It has great affinity towards oxygen. क्या मतलब है इसका? कि whenever hemoglobin comes in contact with oxygen in our body, it immediately starts reacting with oxygen and forms oxyhemoglobin. Oxyhemoglobin बना देता है. Oxyhemoglobin is supposed to be a pure blood. Commonly it is known as pure blood. Pure blood का मतलब oxygenated blood, या क्योंकि oxygenated blood, ऑक्सीजन जिस ब्लड में होती है, it is supposed to be pure blood. तो हीमोग्लोबिन ऑक्सीजन को एब्जॉर्ब करता है ब्लड में. हीमोग्लोबिन हैज अ ग्रेट अट्रैक्शन और एफिनिटी टुवर्ड्स ऑक्सीजन. व्हेनेवर इन आवर बॉडी hemoglobin comes, especially in the lungs, क्योंकि lungs के through we breathe in oxygen. lungs में small balloon like structures are present known as alveoli. Alveoli, they have a fine network of blood capillaries. तो ये ऑक्सीजन ब्लड के अंदर जो हीमोग्लोबिन है उसमें एब्जॉर्ब हो जाता है, फॉर्म्स ऑक्सीहीमोग्लोबिन एंड सर्कुलेट थ्रू आउट द बॉडी, और ऑक्सीजन को सेल्स में रिलीज कर देता है, और बदले में कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड एब्जॉर्ब कर लेता है हीमोग्लोबिन, एंड इट बिकम्स देन कार्बोक्सी हीमोग्लोबिन विच इज सपोज टू बी इम्प्योर ब्लड. इम्प्योर ब्लड जिसमें कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड की परसेंटेज ज़्यादा हो, ऑक्सीजन की परसेंटेज कम हो. तो हीमोग्लोबिन से, ऑक्सी हीमोग्लोबिन से सेल्स में जाके ऑक्सीजन तो रिलीज हो जाती है. इन एक्सचेंज ऑफ ऑक्सीजन hemoglobin absorbs carbon dioxide, which is not a good gas, which is a harmful gas for our body. So we breathe out carbon dioxide. High percentage of carbon dioxide होती है air which we breathe out, तो वो बाहर निकाल देता है. So that is why, and this is absorption of oxygen and releasing carbon dioxide. This is all related with respiration. So that is why hemoglobin is known as respiratory pigment. उसको respiratory pigment भी बोलते हैं because it is responsible for our respiration. और what is the structure of red blood cell? इसका structure होता है circular. It is round and biconcave. Biconcave 10th class में you must have done lenses. एक convex lens होता है, एक concave lens होता है. Biconcave is like this. Biconcave इस type का होता है and it is a disc like structure, round, बीच में से center में से it is narrow and edges से it is thicker. So this is biconcave. इसका shape होती है and this shape is also very important. क्यों shape ये ऐसे important है? Because what is the function of red blood cells? Absorption of oxygen. So इसका function है absorption का. This shape, biconcave shape, circular disc, biconcave surface, it increases the surface area, so more and more oxygen will be absorbed by it. In a natural way, its shape is like this, कि it absorbs more and more oxygen because इसकी shape ही ऐसी है कि its surface area is more. So disc-like, biconcave, circular, and very important point, it has no nucleus. Red blood cells, they don't have any nucleus in it. और उसके बाद आ जाते हैं आपके white blood cells. White blood cells, white blood cells, they are yellowish white in color. That is why they are known as white blood cells. और further, जो हमारे जो white blood cells हैं, they are responsible for self defense mechanism of our body. हमारे बॉडी में एक natural way में self defense mechanism है and in this process our body is able to protect ourselves. Our body protects itself from different types of disease causing germs. So this is a natural ability present in our body. This is known as your self defense mechanism और कभी कभी इसको हम immunity भी बोलते हैं. And immunity कैसे होती है, क्या होता है, how these white blood cells, they are able to protect our body from different types of disease causing germs. And white blood cells are also known as leukocytes and इसको white blood corpuscles भी बोलते हैं. So white blood cells further can be classified into different categories, that is phagocytes and immunocytes. In other words, we can say that white bloods, they have two types of substances, structures, phagocytes and immunocytes. Phagocytes as well as immunocytes both are able to they are able to protect our body from different types of disease causing germs, but both are having different ways to protect us. हमें protect करने के लिए उनका जो path है, the ways are different. For example, phagocytes. Phagocytes, how do they protect us from different types of diseases? They just, whenever disease causing germs like bacteria, like viruses and other harmful any chemical foreign material, when they enter into body, ये जो phagocytes हैं, phagocytes, they become very active. एकदम से इतने active हो जाते हैं और हमारे body में एक ये भी ability है कि whenever our body comes in contact with any harmful germs, in a natural way, it will start producing protective cells, antibodies, अपने आप ही हमारे body में produce होने लग जाते हैं. This is our natural immunity. तो phagocytes कैसे हमें they protect us from different types of diseases? They engulf the harmful bacteria. कोई भी अगर harmful germ या harmful chemicals they enter into our body, then these phagocytes present in white blood cells, they engulf them, उनको निगल जाते हैं and they kill them in this way. So by engulfing them, उनको बिल्कुल ही निगल जाते हैं और in this way they protect us from different types of disease causing germs. On the other hand, lymphocytes. Lymphocytes का way of protection, way of protecting our body is कि they, whenever they come in contact with harmful germs, then they start producing antibodies. Antibodies are protective proteins. They are also known as protective proteins. तो protective proteins ये बनाने लग जाते हैं, that is antibodies, and these antibodies they kill the germs, मार देते हैं germs को. This is the difference between the working of phagocytes and immunocytes. Phagocytes में these phagocytes cells हैं ये, they engulf the harmful germs and harmful chemicals. On the other hand, immunocytes, they start producing antibodies, and antibodies they just kill the, swallow नहीं करते, engulf नहीं करते, they just kill the harmful germs. So phagocytes, in this way when the body is protected, then the process is known as phagocytosis. On the other hand, immunocytes से जब हमारी body protect होती है, then it is known as immunity. Then it is known as immunity. That process is known as immunity. So this is all about white blood cells. We have platelets also. लास्ट में आपका जो कॉम्पोजिशन है ब्लड का, थर्ड पार्टिकल्स जो ब्लड में है, दे आर नोन एज प्लेटलेट्स. एंड प्लेटलेट्स, इसमें आपको मैं एक ये भी बात बता दूं कि ब्लड में जो रेड ब्लड सेल्स हैं दे आर लिविंग, और जो हमारी वाइट ब्लड सेल्स हैं दे आर ऑल्सो लिविंग, बट प्लेटलेट्स दे आर नॉन लिविंग, और दे आर ऑल्सो नोन एज थ्रोम्बोसाइट्स, and they are responsible for blood clotting. जो हमारा whenever you get injured, blood comes out from your body. तो whenever blood comes in contact with air, blood में कुछ ये fibrinogen होते हैं platelets, they become hard, एक net, they make a network on that injured part. तो अंदर का blood अंदर रह जाता है, बाहर वो it cannot come out. So that is known as blood clotting, or which is also very important phenomenon present in our body, that is platelets, thrombocytes जो produce करते हैं blood clotting. तो blood clotting, blood उसमें इतना coagulate हो जाता है, it becomes thick, it cannot come out because of the formation of a network of fibrinogen, fiber-like substance. So otherwise sometimes if the person is having less number of platelets in the blood, then this process blood clotting उसमें इतना fast नहीं होगा. अदरवाइज 5-7-6-7-8 मिनट में ब्लड आपका क्लॉट हो जाना चाहिए, पर जिसमें प्लेटलेट्स की डेफिशिएंसी होती है तो उनका ब्लड टाइम प्रॉपर एक रिक्वायर्ड टाइम जितना है उसमें क्लॉट नहीं होता, एंड इट कीप्स ऑन कमिंग आउट फ्रॉम द बॉडी, एंड समटाइम्स बिकॉज ऑफ दैट अ स्मॉल इंजरी माइट बिकम वेरी फेटल, बहुत हार्मफुल हो सकती है एक छोटी सी इंजरी भी. सो दिस इज ऑल अबाउट कॉम्पोजिशन ऑफ ब्लड. और इसके बाद there is another fluid in the in our body along with the blood, एक और fluid that is lymph also it flows. और lymph जिस तरह से blood circulatory system होता है उसी तरह से lymph vessels भी होती हैं, and they also make a lymphatic system in our body. और what is lymph? Lymph actually it is जो हमारी blood capillaries है उसका secretion है. उसमें से कुछ blood जो स्मॉलर पार्टिकल्स हैं दे विल बी सिक्रीटेड एंड विल एंटर इनटू अनदर वेसल्स, उनको लिम्फ वेसल्स कहते हैं, एंड दे आल्सो डू ऑल दोज फंक्शंस जो ब्लड हमारा करता है. ब्लड जो करता है सेम फंक्शन इसके भी होते हैं, और ये वापस हमारी कैपिलरीज के थ्रू हमारी ब्लड वेसल्स में ही वापस आ जाता है. तो लिम्फ जो है दिस इज इट्स कॉम्पोजिशन इज सेम एज दैट ऑफ योर ब्लड माइनस रेड ब्लड सेल्स. इसमें रेड ब्लड सेल्स नहीं होते, बाकी और जितना भी है प्लाज्मा है एंड एल्बुमिन और एवरीथिंग इज देयर, एंड दे आर having more number of white blood cells, so the lymph is very protective in nature, more antibodies in it, so it has a strong self defense mechanism. हमारे body के लिए self defense mechanism create करता है, and otherwise it doesn't have any रेड ब्लड सेल, इसमें रेड ब्लड सेल्स नहीं होते लिम्फ में, सो इट इज़ whitish येलो इन कलर, इट इज़ नॉट रेड इन कलर, whitish येलो कलर इसका होता है, और जो रेस्पिरेशन का काम है वो इसमें नहीं होता, ऑक्सीजन की सप्लाई ये नहीं करता बिकॉज इट डजंट हैव हीमोग्लोबिन इन इट। दिस इज ऑल अबाउट कनेक्टिव टिश्यू, जिसमें हमने ब्लड किया एंड लिम्फ भी कर लिया, सो वी हैव फिनिश्ड कनेक्टिव टिश्यू, सारे हमारे कनेक्टिव टिश्यू खत्म हो गए। नेक्स्ट सेशन में आई विल टेल यू अबाउट मस्कुलर टिश्यूज, further can be classified into striated, non-striated and cardiac muscles और nervous tissue। ये दोनों मैं एक ही सेशन में I will try to complete muscular tissues different type के and nervous tissue, एक ही सेशन में I will try to complete it। So I hope you have understood all the topics which I have explained in this session, so we will meet next time, muscular and nervous tissue. Thank you so much.